Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nila Madhav Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaur Premanande
श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय बीबीडी फाउंडर आचार्य शिल प्रभुपाद की जय इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शिल प्रभुपाद की जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टा जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अवधूत शिरोमणि गोरा किशोर बाबा जी की जय। सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। कोराविर्भाव भूमिस्थ निर्देशता सज्जन प्रिया वैष्णव सार्वभौम जगन्नाथाय नमः। जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी की। श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ सतगुरु स्वामी जी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तविंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रज भूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। साम वेद भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री श्री निताय चैतन्य चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौरा चंद्र की जय। श्री गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री राधा गिरधारी की जय। श्री श्री राधा नील माधव की जय। द मोस्ट मर्सीफुल द डिवाइन कपल श्री श्री राधा नील माधव की जय। श्री श्री राधा नील माधव धाम की जय। बोल प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivacharya Asutara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Preshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Sunday morning Bhagavatam class. Nice to see in this cold weather. Many of you braving it. We're going to read from Canto 8. The withdrawal of the cosmic manifestation, chapter 15, right? Okay, let me tell you. It's chapter 15. Right? Yeah. 1528. Yep, 1528. The chapter is Bali Maharaj conquers the heavenly planet. Basically, what has happened thus far, that Bali Maharaj and the demon Asuras were fighting with the Devatas, and they were actually, Bali Maharaj gets killed. Indra kills him. And an interesting thing is Sukracharya has this potency, samjivini mantra, where as long as the body is not separated, he can bring the life back. So that would be good, right? Depending, right, on your karma and so on. You keep coming back and going through the same difficult situation in life, right? You wouldn't want that. But anyway, he was able to revive Bali Maharaj, and when Bali Maharaj was revived, he felt very grateful, not happy. He's very grateful to his Guru, spiritual master, and so he felt so much affection for that, and he started to serve his Guru very diligently, and he served his Guru. So much so that his Guru then felt that, when you serve somebody, they'll also feel that affection also. It's normal. Anyone you serve, they will display affection to the person serving them. Of course, if you serve like, here, take, those kind of won't create the affection, but there are those who create anger, resentment. So in this case, when Bali Maharaj really gave his heart to his spiritual master, Sukracharya, Sukracharya felt really touched by that. And obviously, Bali Maharaj then asked, how can I, defeat the Suras? And so they do this yajna, and so they perform a particular yajna and bless the spiritual master, or descendants of Brihaspati, and so they bless him. And from the yajna, a golden chariot comes, and then 1,000 horses, yellow horses, and he looked, and then he also got a armor, a celestial armor, and then he wanted to go and then fight with the Suras. At that time, Prahlad Maharaj then gave him a everlasting garland. Right? Garlands here don't last long, maybe a couple of days at most. But the garlands up in the heavenly planets can last longer. The garlands Krishna wears is eternally there. So he gave him the garland, and he mounted the chariot with the horses, and away he went to Indraloka with his followers, Asuras. So at that time in the palace of Indra, when they heard the commotion, and the description here is very nice. Indra's abode is surrounded by walls of fire. And then on top of that, there are parapets where soldiers were waiting to fight. So, and within the city itself, it's just lots of wonderful plants and trees and celestial singers and so much opulence. And so Indra then found out that Bali Maharaj was coming. And when he looked out, he saw the potency. Simply Bali Maharaj is effulgent with the armor and so on, and he could feel the potency. He was astonished. And he was thinking, and then he saw his army. It covered the entire sky. He said, I have no chance. We will not, be able to withstand the force of Bali Maharaj. So what did he do? He ran to his spiritual master, Guru Brihaspati, and said, my dear Guru Maharaj, what is this? How is it possible that Bali Maharaj is back? Of course they know about Sukracharya's ability to revive dead person. But he's back. But I don't think I can go and fight with him. He seems invincible. Nowadays people take risks. They'll fight with anybody. They don't know whether they'll win or not. They just go through their mental state. They just fight. But in those days, just by looking, they know where they stand. An intelligent person will understand simply by looking. That's the first class intelligence. Second class intelligence is knowing, getting the information. Third class intelligence? Trial and error. Fourth class intelligence? Never learn. Right, never learn. Okay. So Indra's intelligence peaked and he realized this is no way. I can never face Bali Maharaj. So then Brihaspati meditated. Now Brihaspati is very special. He is empowered by the Lord. So he's also the preeminent, you can say, Acharya of the demigods. And so in his meditation he saw the circumstances, and so he told Indra that you got no chance, boy, you're going to be defeated. So don't hang around here, gather all your forces, the other demigods, and go into hiding. You'll never defeat this. And then Indra's like, what? And he said, don't worry, in the future, he could see the future also, that Bali Maharaj will offend the Brahmanas, and then he will lose his potency, the blessings of the Brahmanas. At the moment you cannot defeat him because he has the blessings of his Guru and Brahmana, therefore he is invincible. And so they go into hiding, and Bali Maharaj just comes into, open, and sits in the throne, and the Brahmanas then tell him, you have to perform sacrifice, horse sacrifice, Aswamedha sacrifice. Generally, to sit in the throne of Indra, you have to perform 100 Aswamedha yajna. And just like Prithu Maharaj was trying to do 100, he did 99. Who came and stopped him? Indra. So Indra is afraid, if you do 100, I'm going to lose my job. So the same way, when Bali Maharaj was there, the Brahmana said, you cannot stay here because you haven't done the 100. So Bali Maharaj was daily doing this horse sacrifice like that. Yeah. So in the meantime, Indra and the Suras were waiting. They were waiting for the opportune moment to usurp Bali Maharaj. Of course, this is how Bali Maharaj conquers the heavenly planets, Indrapuri and all the other places. And he rules all the upper, middle and lower planetary systems. This is how, as I mentioned, I think yesterday, Indra gets his opulence. Everyone does sacrifice and he gets, that's his pay. That is his job. And then he gives rain. He sends the rain to all those places so that they can grow their crops or whatever. So therefore, today's particular verse, 28, we will chant. In the next few chapters, you'll find how Bali loses the position. Of course, he doesn't lose it through material activities, but more so because he wants to do pure devotional service. Okay? Alright. Text 28. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Unnate Asya Karanam Sishyayo Pabritam Tejo Sishyayo Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadibihi Brigube Brahmavadibihi Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Sishyayo Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadibihi. Some of you can chant. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Yasya Karanam Nisyayo Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadibihi. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Sisyayo Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadibir. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Sishyayo Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadi. Ladies. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Sishyayo Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadive. Shri Chen. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Sishya Pabritam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadibe. Anyone? Last. Shri Guru Vacha Janami Bhagavan Chatro Unnate Asya Karanam Tishyayo Britam Tejo Brigube Brahmavadive. Shri Guru Vacha Brihaspati said, Janami, I know, Bhagavan, O Indra, Shatru of the enemy, Unnate of the elevation, Asya of him, Karanam the cause, Sishyaya unto the disciple, Upabritam, endowed, Tejaha, power, Brigubihi, by the descendants of Brigu, Brahmavadibihi, all powerful Brahmanas. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki. Now you can repeat the translation together with me. Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, said, O Indra, I know the cause for your enemies becoming so powerful. The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu Muni, being pleased by Bali Maharaj, their disciple, endowed him with such extraordinary power.
Purport. Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, informed Indra, ordinarily Bali and his forces could not achieve such great strength, but it appears that the Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu Muni, being pleased with Bali Maharaj, endowed them with this spiritual power. In other words, Brihaspati informed Indra that Bali Maharaj's prowess was not his own, but that of his exalted guru, Sukracharya. We sing in our daily prayers, Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado, Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutopi. By the pleasure of the spiritual master, one can get the extraordinary power, especially in spiritual advancement. The blessings of the spiritual master are more powerful than one's personal endeavor for such advancement. Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Guru Mukha Parma Vakya Chitete Kariya Aikya Arana Kariha Mana Asha. Especially for spiritual advancement, one should carry out the bona fide order of the spiritual master. By the Parampara system, one can thus be endowed with the original spiritual power coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajar Sayo Viduhu.
Thank you. Amagyanatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshuzanmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Gariti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yakripatamam Vande Shri Gurum Denataranam Paramananda Madham Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sagodito Gadodiya Pushpanto Chitra Sandho Tamonudam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastha Bhutale Srimadi Tamal Krishna Goswami Namani Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastha Bhutale Srimadi Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Before we get into this discussion, I'm going to read the summary in chapter 1 of Canto 8. And it shows Srila Prabhupada's connection with his spiritual master. It's very nice. If you go to the chapter 1, maybe you can put it up on the screen and down. Okay. I'll read that. First of all, let me offer my humble, respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. His Divine Grace Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Sometime in the year 1935, when His Divine Grace was staying at Radha Kunda, I went to see him from Bombay. At that time, he gave me many important instructions in regard to constructing temples and publishing books. He personally told me that publishing books is more important than constructing temples. Of course, those same instructions remained within my mind for many years. In 1944, I began publishing my Back to Godhead. And when I retired from family life in 1958, I began publishing Srimad Bhagavatam in Delhi. When 3 parts of Srimad Bhagavatam had been published in India, I then started for the United States of America on the 13th of August 1965. That's 30 years later when it started. I'm continuously trying to publish books as suggested by my spiritual master. Now in this year, 1976, right, that's almost 46 years ago, I have completed the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and a summary of the 10th canto has already been published as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, the 8th canto, 9th canto, 10th canto, 11th canto, and 12th canto are yet to be published. On this occasion, therefore, I'm praying to my spiritual master to give me strength to finish this work. I'm neither a great scholar nor a great devotee. I'm simply a humble servant of my spiritual master. And to the best of my ability, I'm trying to please him by publishing these books. With the cooperation of my disciples in America, fortunately, scholars all over the world are appreciating these publications. Let us cooperatively publish more and more volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam just to please His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I thought this is very relevant for today's particular verse, because it's about getting the blessings of the spiritual master. You can see how Bali Maharaj, simply by the blessings of his spiritual master, Sukracharya, became so powerful. Most people in society, they want power, material power, right? If you give them the ability to get yoga siddhis, this whole planet will be in chaos, right? There will be cursing everywhere, or people exploding, or conquest unnecessarily, right? So, such abilities were in the previous yuga, but they were only given to qualified personalities. If you carefully read the Bhagavatam, not everybody was capable of getting that potency. Of course, if you read in the first canto, the Brahmana boy, Shringi, he was trained, but he misused his potency. And what did Prabhupada say in the purports? He says, this is the beginning of Kali Yuga. Yeah. So, when you don't know what is right and wrong, and you just use it according to how you feel, your senses, then that's incorrect use of your abilities and potencies that are invested in each and every one of us by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Each and every one of you have something amazing and interesting that you need to know how you can connect with this Supreme Lord here. You have to figure out that. On your own, maybe not, but with guidance, with exalted devotees, they can connect you or link with you. And that's basically the role of the spiritual master. Yeah. So the recognition of the position of spiritual master is also very important for the practitioner. It is not simply, I want a guru, and then you have the guru on the leash and walk in the road, right? A dog, as Prabhupada says, it's not a show. You don't take a guru for show bottle. Hey, look, I have a guru. Flash out your card on your app. Hey, look, this is my guru. Okay, guru can go back in the app. Yeah, right. So that's not the whole idea, right? So gurus can also be for material reasons also, right? You can have material gurus also, right? In the Vedic times, there's a guru for astrology, there's a guru for carpentry, there's a guru for blacksmith, there's a guru for so many things, building houses and so on. So there are different levels of gurus, and one has to understand the needs of these kinds of gurus so that you can at least fit within the varna and ashram, right? So that's very important. But ultimately, the whole Vedic paradigm is to push the individual towards Godhead, towards Krishna, towards spiritual needs. So that's very essential. We all have to accept the fact that, I have all these roles to play within society, within my family, etc., etc. But I need to, at the end of the life, I have to make sure that I still have this connection with the Supreme Lord. I must have that connection. If I don't have the connection, everything else is simply a waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevalam. The whole idea in Vedic culture is that you develop Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So the Supreme Personality, He either directly comes, but for most of us, too bad, that's not going to happen. So then He sends through the Huh? Through an empowered person. Okay, could be your spiritual master or someone who is spiritually advanced. They are empowered to. If what they say resonates in your heart to connect to Krishna, then they are qualified. Okay. Otherwise, if it doesn't, if the majority of people don't feel the urgency or the necessity to connect with Krishna is not there, it doesn't evoke such a sentiment in you, then the one can say the potency is not sustained or not strong like that. Huh? So therefore it's very important. Srila Prabhupada says acceptance of a spiritual master is essential. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamada ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki Jai, Shri Shri Indai Chaitanya Chandra, Shri Shri Indai Gaura Chandra ki Jai, Iskcon Guruvinda ki Jai. Okay. Srila Prabhupada, as I mentioned, Srila Prabhupada said acceptance of the spiritual master is essential. It's very important. Why? Because without the instructions of the spiritual master, you cannot understand spiritual science, Krishna. You don't know. It's not possible. Okay? One cannot make progress in spiritual life. Of course, when we read this purport, it is, not the purport, if you read the verse itself, it would appear that Sukracharya is giving his disciple the blessings of go forth and conquer, But that's not, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, that's not the main thing for a spiritual master. The purport emphasis is on spiritual life. Which is very important for all of us. Mostly we forget spiritual life and we focus on material existence. Material existence only leads to sense gratification, bondage, death, atmaha, death, killer of the souls. So we cannot therefore practice like that. It is a waste of our human form of life. It is only in the human form of life you can develop such a exalted consciousness where you can relate and connect to the supreme spiritual being. It is not possible in any other form of existence, unless of course you are Jad Bharat. But how many of us are Jad Bharat, right? Or some special, within the universe, there may be one or two personalities who are in the animal form, right, and who can converse and speak great philosophies. But 99.9%, no, they are not. Okay. So in the human form of life, it is so important to make this connection and understanding. It is so important. Otherwise, you will be chasing, smoking mirrors. Or you'll be chasing, what that Prabhupada uses, in the sky, flower in the sky. Phantasmagoria, or elephants flying, pigs flying. You've heard statements like that, right? If only pigs could fly, right? That means I don't believe you. So in the same way, there's so many things we want to believe and we chase blindly without understanding the consequences that happens. Why we don't know the consequences? Because we don't have sufficient knowledge. Sufficient, what kind of knowledge? Spiritual knowledge. Why is spiritual knowledge not important in this society? Okay, mostly they're looking for, you can say, 3 benefits. What are they? Artha, Kama, and not moksha. Artha, Kama, Dharma. The Dharma also, religious, some religiosity also. Artha is material possession. Kama is sense enjoyment. And some religiosity. Oh yeah, I go to the temple, Om Bhagavate, right? And then that's it, finished. Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Give me a green car and a Lexus. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Right? That's how we do it, right? So we don't want all those things because it is binding. It's very binding. It's so terrible. Once you are stuck in this material world, it's devastating. All that you dream of will be smashed. All the castles you are building in the air is totally smashed. Gone. You will never get it. And therefore, spiritual life is very important. We need to cultivate spiritual life. And we are so fortunate because of Srila Prabhupada. And you can see when he's writing this beginning of the 8th canto, he's not saying, I'm so good, I'm so wonderful, He's not saying that. He said, I'm praying to my spiritual master so I can do this service that he wanted. So he starts this entire spiritual life, his whole spiritual life. He gives a very brief description of how he met his spiritual master, Radha Kun, and the instructions were given. And he took that so much into his heart. Okay? And the same way, each and every one of us, we have to take instructions of anyone who's a spiritual well-wisher in our hearts, and then meditate on it and see how we can also take it a little bit further. Okay? It's important. We have to think, okay, I can do this much, I can't do that. But how many years it took Prabhupada, right? 30 years just to get out from India. And then after that another 10 years or more to push the distribution. And then who are the beneficiaries? All of us. Pardon? Thousands of years. Beneficiary, yeah. Thousands of years of people who are going to take birth and they're going to benefit. So because taking a spiritual master is essential, one must approach the spiritual master with humility and surrender unto them and serve them. Yeah, one has to. The humility, why humility is important? So misconceptions can be smashed, very good. What else? Use the microphone, your voice is so low.
It said the disciple should come with a receptive ear, and then the transmission can be complete.
One has to approach a spiritual master with a receptive hearing, so that the transmission, where is the transmission? In the heart can take place. That means the conviction must be there. That what? That my spiritual master is speaking the truth. Okay? It's not, oh, my spiritual master, he looks good or he can sing, right? Some people have this conviction, oh, he's so nice to me, so therefore he must be my spiritual master. No. The spiritual master chastises the disciple, it's for the benefit of the disciple. Prabhupada says in one place, he says, I think it's in a lecture, he says, don't become angry with your spiritual master if he chastises you. Why? Because when you are chastised, that's when your senses and everything is readily able to analyze properly and understand that I am nobody. I'm a fool. It won't take place otherwise. And when the spiritual master sees, oh, this person is so honest, so truthful, so humble, and is willing to follow my instructions, he then bestows blessings. And that's why sometimes you see 2 or 3 people may take initiation, only one out of them may make advancement, the others are not. Because why? Because the others may not be readily accepting the instructions or minimizing the instructions of the spiritual master. How else can you minimize the spiritual master? Yeah. Thinking of the spiritual master as an ordinary human being. Why is this not correct? You've been in the movement for a while.
His position is that of the representative of Krishna, or the manifestation of the Lord's mercy.
Sakshat Daridvena Samastra Shastra. The spiritual master is representing. He's the servitor Godhead. So he is representing the Supreme Personality of God. He's not doing it for himself. That's the other thing, the quality, who is he? He's always immersed in the signs of God, in the pleasures of the Lord's pastimes and so on. What is that verse? Mahatmanastu mam parta devim prakritim ashritaha. Right? He is a Mahatma because he is immersed in the devim prakriti. He's taking shelter of that. What does Krishna says about Mahatma further on? He says, very good. Sudurlabha. Sudurlabha. Vasudevam Samahatma Sudurlabha. Yeah. You have learned something. Excellent. Excellent. Sudurlabha. Yeah. It's very rare to get a spiritual master. So one shouldn't take it for granted. It should always within your heart be full of gratitude. That my spiritual master took me out of this nonsense. Why am I still trying to enjoy the nonsense? Right? Why? What is wrong with me? Devotee should sit and analyze on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis. What is wrong with me? Why am I not taking this process seriously? And then if you look carefully, you'll see mostly it's because you are trying to enjoy the material energy. Yeah, mostly that's the bottom line is usually you are invested so much of your energies, your potencies in trying to enjoy the material energy. Whereas remember, the potencies are given to you by Krishna, but not for that purpose. What's the purpose? To serve the Supreme Personality of God. And so, Sakshat Darivena Samasya Sashri. So the Guru is there to actually help you as a transparent via media. He's not saying he is Krishna. He's not saying that. He's saying, I can actually connect you to Krishna. I can connect you to Krishna. And then I will teach you how to serve and love. Yeah. You will find that as you follow very nicely the instructions, this spirit of joy and happiness comes ever so often. You'll find, my God, I'm feeling so happy. Why? Because you're doing the instructions of the spiritual master properly. It's when you don't follow that you'll say, this is not good, that is not good. Or you start thinking about the affairs of the mundane world, right? Why is Biden sleeping all on his job? Or why is, right? People talk like that. And you're like, why you bother with that? These things will go on and on, life after life. Right? Mandaji is laughing. But what doesn't go on? Opportunities of taking Krishna consciousness is rare. So we should be very, very careful. To become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, Prabhupada says 2 things is very essential. What are the 2 things? You all know this. Yes? Effort and mercy, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Effort and mercy. He is talking about Mother Yashoda tying Damodar. So yeah, effort and mercy, that's good too. Prabhupada says having patience and enthusiasm, that is also true. Yeah. But Prabhupada writes in this purport, and I thought that was interesting, I wanted to share. He says 2 things. He says, it's interesting, he says, having taken birth in a family of devotees. That's one thing. And then the second thing he says is getting the mercy or blessings of the spiritual master. So if you are not born in a devotee family, you should go for the second one, getting the blessings. So you should be like a hound dog, just trailing behind the guru and trying to get the mercy. But to get the mercy, one have to follow the instructions of spiritual master. Okay? Yeah, so we discussed pretty much everything so that I wanted to touch on. Yeah. In fact, in the first canto, if you remember, when Sutta Goswami is speaking, right? The sages of Naimisharanya forest, they what did they say to him? They say tat anugrahat to Sutta Goswami. They say you have the favor. And what is the favor they are talking about? Guruva guhyam api uta. That you have the blessings and the favor of your spiritual masters. And therefore you are qualified to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll stop with that. So don't just sit on your laurels. Okay, that's more dignified. Don't sit on your laurels and not chase after getting the blessings of Guru or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'll stop here. Comments, questions, corrections, anything you want to add, so on and so forth. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Give him this mic here.
Krishna Prabhu. I was just wondering, so here it's mentioned that the Brahmana descendants of Bhrigumani who were pleased by Bali Maharaj, they gave him blessings. But they should know that with these blessings, Bali Maharaj would attack the demigods which are running the universe under Krishna's order. So how is it that they could give these blessings, or when somebody approaches a Brahmana, then how do they go about giving blessings?
Yeah, that's nice. The descendants of Bhrigu, in this case, these Brahmanas are more fruitive in their consciousness. And therefore they are thinking if Bali Maharaj is successful, then they get so much more wealth, blessings from Bali Maharaj. So basically, you will see in society also, right? There's so many gurus, and I like to say kangaroos, and so because they jump from one place to another and they pretend to be, people who like to help others, but actually they're not helping anyone actually. And what are they doing? They're just hoping to get something. There's a guru who was charging, depending on the person, $100, $400, $1,000 for the mantra, And the mantras he gave is what we are chanting, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Narayana Namaha, and stuff like that. But he was charging, So there are personalities like that who are just fruitive, and the potency is not there so much. But here, this you are looking at is in a different yuga. The Brahmanas are actually practicing their Brahmanical practices properly, and therefore they have some teja, right, potency, and so they can bless. But the blessings mainly here is material blessings. Yeah, but you can see, because Bali Maharaj has the blessing of who? Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, so therefore, and remember when Prahlad Maharaj asked Narsingadev about his father, right? And then what did Narsingadev say? How many generations? 21 generations, yeah. So therefore, Bali Maharaj is in the line for the blessings. So in his case, he was born in a devotee family, a sort of devotee family. Who's a good example of taking birth in a devotee family? The Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj. The whole Bhagavatam is Parikshit Maharaj. He was born in the family of Pandavas. They are all devotees. And so he's got that blessing. And then the second blessing is he meets Sukadeva Goswami. So both were there, and he got his highway to heaven. Yeah. Yeah, stairway to heaven, she wants to say. No, but if you're a devotee, you got a fast track, you know. Yeah. You want to go on a stairwell, or you want to go on a lift? Yeah. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhava ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Godan ki Jai, Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra, Shri Shri Nitai Gauri Chandra ki Jai, Iskcon Govinda ki Jai. Yeah, thank you for that question. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu.
Thinking when you asked, what are ways that we can minimize the guru?
Yeah.
I was thinking that this way that I'm about to say may not always be thought of like that, but not revealing our heart and mind to them, or not seeking guidance.
That's a very good point, yeah.
We just go about our day.
Guyam akyati, right?
Yeah.
To reveal one's heart confidentially. That's a very good point. You have to approach the Guru and say, I am suffering.
Yeah.
I'm doing this nonsense. Help me. Yeah. You find that if you do that, you overcome the difficulties quickly. But if you hide it and brood on it, it may take a lifetime. Yeah. Thank you for that. Huh? That's been foolish though, yeah. That means you don't know how to surrender. Yeah. If you don't want the guy. Anyone else? Alright, going once, going twice, going thrice. Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi.